Thank you for joining us this morning. The redeveloped Kejetia market in Kumasi has been shut down temporarily following a fire outbreak that ravaged several portions of the market on Wednesday. It took the intervention of a fire service to bring down the fire, which had been blazing for more than 3 hours. Ibrahim Abubakar was at the scene. He has returned there. He reports that the traders have been counting their losses. He's joining us via Zoom for the latest. Ibrahim, thank you for joining us this morning. You've returned to the area where you were sometime last night. What has changed? Hello, Ibrahim. We'll be trying to get through to Ibrahim to get a clean connection to him. We will be getting the latest as the traders, we understand, have visited the fire site and are already counting their losses. Some are attempting to salvage what they can from the rubble. As we know, fire swept through the Kejetia market sometime yesterday. This morning, the market has been shut down temporarily for at least half of the day for market operators to clean up the debris. And we also know that this particular market is a redeveloped site which is being put up for traders at Kejetia. As and when we are able to get Ibrahim to hear us, we will be engaging him on the latest situation. But let's watch a report he put together sometime yesterday when he visited the site.
So it's been a hectic day for personnel from the Ghana National Fire Service as they try to douse flames at the new Kejetia market. Now it's been hours since they came here trying to contain the situation. I've seen several fire tenders coming in and going out, all trying to salvage the situation. As you can see, some of the traders are also doing everything possible to salvage some of their property. So some of them have moved up there, even though it's too dangerous for them. We are unable to tell the exact number of shops that have been affected, but the fire keeps spreading. Well, the fire service personnel are doing everything possible to contain the situation.
And my sister so by Memane and Nema de Memani. It's me imagine Saturday and Macquaco fan Yamanaba and Yamani Nash.
Mr. Waha, the Union said Jano and Musieba. Yantiman to me a day near Mani Yafaha, near Shia and Musianida, Yafa near Shia. That's right, there's all beyond my father near my Yatom Emma jeans, T-shirt, and Manning grab on thing. They say a near man, they say a near my side here. Yantimi Modi,
my major Munet. The one your friend says she may buy Medri and Obra. I'm not winning. No money for. Return panties and boxes and interior.
The challenge is that the thick smoke is not even allowing the fire service personnel to see clearly, not to talk of moving to where the fire itself is to douse the flame. So after hours of fighting the fire, finally the fire service personnel have been able to douse the flame and the fire has been brought under control. Hopefully we will be able to engage personnel from the Ghana National Fire Service and get to know the preliminary cause of the fire, and we will be updating you subsequently. Ibrahim Abubakar, TV3 News, Kumasi.
We are crossing over now to the Kejetia market, the site of that fire, to speak to Ibrahim Abubakar, who has been there all dawn. Ibrahim, thank you for joining us. What can you report about the latest from this particular area? Because we know the traders had been attempting to salvage what they could. Ibrahim, I'm asking what the latest is from the fire scene where you are. Hello, Ibrahim. I'm afraid we cannot get through to Ibrahim Abubakar, my colleague who has been at the fire scene. We'll try and work that out. But the latest is that the operators of the market have since shut down the market to allow for the clearing of the debris because the fire swept through many portions of the area. We try for the final time. Ibrahim, if you can hear me, what's the latest?
Well, Komla, this morning the place looks a bit quiet. even though a number of people have come to the market center to ply their trading activity. A number of police personnel have been deployed there. In fact, most of them had to sleep here just to make sure that they protect people's property. The fire service personnel, some men were also left behind to make sure that nothing comes up again. Just yesterday, last night, management of the facility issued a statement saying that the facility from this morning will be shut down temporarily. They are expecting the fire service personnel to come and conduct their investigations before they will open up. Even for the place that have not been affected, they've not been allowed access this morning. So, as you can see, some of the victims came here in the morning. They had to stand here just to look at it because no one is being allowed access into the facility. So, we are waiting for the fire service personnel to come this morning and commence with investigation here.
And Ibra, you were telling us about how some of the traders had to escape from the market sometime yesterday, some having to hang on to ropes and threads from the highest floor. Tell us about it.
Exactly. Yesterday, it was a matter of life and death. Even though some of them were bent on trying to salvage some of their properties, others also had to try and run for their lives because the fire started at the last floor, that's at the top floor, and the entire place was engulfed by smoke. So people were not even seeing clearly to be able to escape the roof. So what some of the market women did was that because this section, most of them sell cloth and other things, they had to put together some of the cloth, tie them together in the form of a rope and try to escape via it because they couldn't go through the main escape route. And that even led to one of the traders falling down here. Fortunately, yesterday, because the ambulance service were here on time, she was given first aid, she was treated, and currently has been discharged. So for now, we don't have any casualty, but you could imagine the pressure, how women, our mothers, traders, coming down via that cloth to down, even though they had their properties burning, but they had to save their lives first.
Thank you, Ibrahim Abubakar. And those are the visuals you can see on your screen now. Some of the traders having to find other means of escaping the fire from the top floor, having to use their cloth as a support as they found their way out of the ravaging fire area sometime yesterday. We are keeping our eyes on this development. We'll be getting back to Ibrahim in the course of time for the latest on this. Away from that, Tiger IPI, the investigative entity of Anas Arimea Anas, has described the court ruling dismissing a 25 million cedi defamatory suit against Asen Central MP Kennedy Agyapong as a travesty of justice. Anas Arimea Anas says the decision is inimical to the administration of justice and fairness. We'll hear from the Tiger IPI team shortly. But first, here is a report capturing events in court as presiding judge Eric Ban awarded a 50,000 cedi cost against Anas Arimea Anas.
In the case that has been running since 2018 was stinging in his remarks as he delivered judgment against the investigative journalist Anas Arimea Anas. He called the journalist a blackmailer, extortionist, and corrupt, and said his style isn't investigative journalism, but investigative terrorism. Anas filed a 25 million cedi defamation suit against the Member of Parliament after his investigative work Who Watches the Watchman that accused a journalist of extortion, blackmail, corruption, and other crimes, questioned the authenticity of his investigations. The judge seemed to agree when he told the court that, quote, I hold that the plaintiff is a blackmailer who uses blackmail to extort money from his opponents and people he does not like. What the plaintiff is doing is not investigative journalism, but investigative terrorism. Kennedy Agyapong took on Anas after his investigative piece, number 12, brought down the Ghana football establishment and its then powerful president, Kwesi Nyantakyi. The former GFA president was in court for the ruling and beamed with smiles alongside Kennedy Agyapong, who did not hide his elation at the ruling.
Today, the victory is for the victims of Anas, the people, the good people of this country that Anas has destroyed. All those people who were sacked from their jobs, the people who have died through Anas' illegal investigation should be compensated. Compensation is not enough. He has to apologize to his victims. And today, I say to Ghanaians that we have to be bold to speak the truth in this country.
The court awarded the MP a 50,000 Ghana cedi cost, but he says that pales into insignificance compared to what he insists is the damage that Anas has caused several people.
What they have gone through, Anas' humiliation in this country, nobody, no citizen of this country should go through like that. I tell you today, the 50,000, I don't need it. I give it to him, but he should live with his conscience. And with this judgment, God is also going to give his judgment.
Lord Edwasari, TV3 News, Accra.
And as you know, there have been several reactions following the court's ruling. Some private legal practitioners have since backed a Wednesday ruling against Anas Arimeyao Anas. They argue that the method he uses to conduct his investigations are unlawful and criminal.
Well, the only evidence I have is that Saga has been bombarding the eardrums of Ghanaians with so-called investigations and so-called findings and so-called reports that has led several people to untimely graves and lost their jobs. And for me, I have no sympathy for Tiger Eye. Not one bit. Because who is Tiger Eye? Is it not Anas Arimeyao Anas and his cronies? And are they saints? Can they tell me that they have not committed anything and you are claiming that you have been defamed?
Of course, because I had also been involved in litigation all the way to the ECOWAS court in respect of the methodology that was adopted by Anas, because I represented some of the judges that were implicated by Anas in some of his investigations. And there's always been that raging debate as to whether or not the method of journalism that he was using actually was a fair representation of facts as they happened, or whether they were manufactured by him and then subsequently used as evidence against the individuals who were implicated. So there's always been that debate, whether it constituted entrapment or whether it constituted pure journalistic work as we, the ordinary people, would know it. And so this was the head-on collision, because here was a defendant who was alleging that the work that Anas was doing constituted something other than journalism.
You heard the two legal practitioners. Before Ni Kpakpo Ado was captain in Krabia Fadate, these two individuals represented some of the individuals who were found to have conducted wrongdoing during Anas's investigations in the past. Well, Tiger IPI, the investigative body of Anas Arimeyao Anas, has been responding to the court ruling, describing it as a travesty of justice. Martin Isidudate has been looking at the statement.
Anas Arimeyao Anas and his firm Tiger IPI have reacted sharply to the ruling of Justice Eric Barr, which said that they failed to prove that Kennedy Agyapong had defamed the journalist. Anas claimed that a documentary aired by the Member of Parliament for Asin Central, Kennedy Agyapong, which was titled "Who Watches the Watchman?" defamed him and asked for a 25 million cedi compensation against Kennedy Agyapong. In their statement, they say that the judge acknowledged that indeed Mr. Agyapong defamed Anas, but in a bizarre twist concluded that the so-called documentary, Who Watches the Watchman?, was an absolute justification, thereby absolving Mr. Agyapong of any liability. The statement goes on to say, "We find the decision of the court an unfortunate travesty of justice and very inimical to the administration of justice and fairness." In conclusion, it goes on to add that this case traveled through the hands of 3 justices, with Justice Barr being the latest assigned to the case at the express instance of Kennedy Agyapong, unquote. The statement, however, did not indicate whether they will appeal this ruling. Martin Esiedu Data, TV3 News, Accra.
Let's do some more stories now. Member of Parliament for Asawase, Mohammed Mutaka Mubarak, has sued 11 of his branch executives for allegedly defaming him. William Evansenkum reports tension is brewing in the constituency ahead of a party's May parliamentary primary.
This in the Asawase constituency is deepening as intra-party tension continues to heighten. The Member of Parliament has sued 11 branch executives of the party. According to the rates, they have alleged that the Member of Parliament, Mutaka Mubarak, has forcibly allocated stores in Asawase market for himself. Meanwhile, the party doesn't have a party office here. The Asawase constituency since 2004 hasn't seen this level of tension. The cracks that some believe, if not curtailed, will affect the fortunes of the party, especially now that the party wants to win more seats and even move from 26% in 2020 election to 30% as far as the Ashanti region is concerned. If they're able to achieve that, that will be the very first time since 1992 the party is winning massively in the Ashanti region, which is the stronghold of the ruling New Patriotic Party, a political rival. But for now, 11 executive members of the party will have to face the Member of Parliament and former Minority Chief Whip in Parliament, Mutaka Mubarak, in court over character assassination, or if you like, defamation. William Evansenkum, TV3 News, Asawase.
Now, a member of a subsidiary legislation committee of Parliament, an MP for Ibuakwa South, has descended heavily on the military for brutalizing innocent civilians in Ashaiman. Samuel Atachia, contributing to a statement on security brutality meted out, minced no words in describing the act as despicable. Here is what he said on the floor of Parliament. Meanwhile, the Defense and Interior Committee will be in Ashaiman later today.
Let our security forces beware. Civilized and a democratic environment. That's what we should bear in mind. Some bestiality should not be encouraged. When people are being, whipped terribly, there's one which is so offensive to my sense of law. That is said that somebody has been killed. Let's beat the innocent so we find the killer. I have never seen any absurdity in my life. That if you can't find a killer, beat the innocent. And in so do you find a killer. We can celebrate this kind of, with the greater balance in this democratic dispensation we have. And we are craving the indulgence of those who are supposed to investigate these matters. And they should go about and make an example out of some of these situations. That when a soldier or a policeman is imprisoned, and they have to be imprisoned, no matter, even if it was a colonel in the army or is whoever, commissioner of police, if you went that route, in which you are degrading fellow, Ghanaians, and the man is screaming when he's being beaten. I said, what kind of, bestiality is this one? And what do you want to achieve? Mr. Speaker, we shouldn't encourage impunity coming from our so-called security forces. If they can't protect us, yeah, they are so-called. Because what is the meaning of that?
And Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia says the oil for gold policy has stabilized the exchange rate and would save the country some $4.8 billion annually. He assured of a further decline in the price of crude and fuel from the next pricing window. But energy expert Ben Boachi describes his claims as a propaganda mechanism to score cheap political points.
I'm in shock, really. I'm hearing what the Vice President was saying. Unless you are looking at something else. But if you're really analyzing the industry and how the pricing mechanics works, you would note that it has nothing to do with gold for oil. We are seeing prices on the international market drop, to today about $73 per barrel of Brent, and even 66 for WTI. And indications are that it is even going to drop further. These have implications for petroleum products on the market, and that is what is forcing price down, against the fact that the city has been stable for the past couple of weeks, if not months. So these are the fundamental drivers of the price that we are seeing. And I think it's a general attitude that even if we see price go up tomorrow, they'll have something to say. They say, oh, that one is international price. But when it's coming down, it's gold for oil. That is not what we do. We analyze policy based on the drivers, the factors that underpin the occurrence on the market. I think you can blame them when you're a politician or a pedestrian who doesn't understand how the industry works. But if you understand the mechanics and what influences price, you have to analyze them based on those. But the point I was making substantially is that it is not gold for oil that has brought down the price. And that is a fact. If you listen to any industry watcher beyond the government itself, who is just trying to communicate to the uninitiated that it is because of the gold for oil. But those of us who are analyzing the market knows that a few months ago, oil price on the international market was around $120 per barrel. It is halved. Are we seeing half price on our market? All right. A few months ago, the cedi was almost hitting 15 to the dollar. Is that what we have today? So the circumstances have changed. And always when you're doing analysis, and it's not just politics, you have to look at the facts on the issue and then be able to put the issues as they are.
On the international front, at least 22 people, including 3 monks, were among those who were killed at a monastery in Myanmar's southern Shan state on Saturday as local insurgent groups and military-backed junta accused each other of carrying out a massacre. Myanmar has been mired in political violence since military leader Min Aung Hlaing seized power in a 2021 coup. That'll be all for the news here on New Day. There's more news if you log on to 3news.com. I am Komla. I'm handing now to the team. Roland, Bella, and AJ, take it over.